There we go. Microphone works. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the Blockchain Backer, bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Welcome to Markets in the Morning. Today is Wednesday, August 7th, 2024. This is Markets in the Morning, where we take a look at the price action of the cryptocurrency market, including the Bitcoin price chart, along with the altcoin market, as we get ready for the stock market to open up here in the next 3 minutes. Of course, we'll look over there at things like precious metals, gold and silver, and the US dollar currency index, or the DXY. Lastly, take a look at any news that seems to be relevant for the day as we get things kicked off and going. Wow. Hey, look, it is Wednesday. Thank goodness it is not what we had last Monday. So let's start it off with a positive note.
It is Wednesday, my It is Wednesday,
All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to like the most volatile week we have seen in years. And that's even represented over here on the VIX, or the Volatility S&P 500 index, as the VIX hit levels that have only been hit 2 other times, once during C19's crash, the other one during the great financial crisis. So to say that was just a little itsy bitsy move that happened there on Monday would be an understatement. We haven't seen anything that aggressive. Well, only 2 times in the last 20 years have we seen something like that happen in there. So what a wild way to start off this week. Of course, the market has been a little bit stable ever since that ended up happening. So we'll just kind of go through things. There's not a whole lot new to cover in here that we haven't been really covering over there in the videos. I've had a lot going on in my personal life. If you caught the video on Monday, we had a little bit of a medical emergency happen over the weekend. I'll fill you guys in on that more later this week. Nothing life-threatening or anything like that, but it is just mentally exhausting week this week for sure. So we'll kind of just go through stuff that's going on here in the markets, and then we'll just kind of take it from there. So, all right, there you go. Big move happened over there on Monday as the market liquidated. Of course, everybody's using the story of Japan's stock market and the carry trade and all that good stuff. It's always great to see narratives come up afterwards and people create stories after things end up happening. But yeah, okay, whatever. If you do that, you will always be blindsided by everything. And in the end, if you truly believe that, then how many things do you think are hidden in this market that you don't know about? How many factors do you think you don't know about? If you're like, oh yeah, people were borrowing money from Japan to, at low interest rates to buy US dollars and then pump up equities, and then Japan raised the Fed funds rate, so people had to pay back their loan. Like, how intertwined do you think the whole stock market and economy is? If you think, if you believe that, it very well could be true, but that's how quick things can come unraveled. If that's the case, right? So as you could see, this was just a decimation over here happening over on Japan's stock market. Pretty interesting price level that it did fall back to, however, though. So I'm intrigued by it. It did find support on top of these highs over here. For those who like just know like the double tap, bull flag, breakout, back test, V bottom, there's very simple elements that go to it, right? It's, you have double taps, you have bull flags, breakouts, then we even say the short squeeze, right? There's even that short squeeze that comes out to take it out, and then the violence, and then a V bottom. So we'll see if that thing does find itself okay in here. Structurally, I kind of see that going on in there. One thing, though, that's very interesting about this, we've talked a lot about the price action to Bitcoin, the place that we're at right now. It's like navigating uncharted waters in here. Since March, everybody, constantly, we're going to 100,000, we're going to 100,000. So started the bull run, This was 5 months ago, guys. 5 months. We've talked about this being really just uncharted waters and difficulty, and of course, unable to get that Russell 2000 to end up breaking through there and get through. But to just even prove how correlated everything is, you can just even look at Bitcoin on top of Japan's stock market in here. to see how these things do move. Here's the 2017 bull run and the conclusion of it. Then you can see what happens. It breaks out after a long bear market. Hey, what do you know? There goes Bitcoin at the same time. Even Japan's stock market enters into a bear. Then we follow and follow and follow. And then now, there's that whole stuff going on in there. So hopefully that's the conclusion of the whole thing. We can talk more about Bitcoin and the struggles that we're at. Still, the big thing is this, whether or not there's just some hidden element, some hidden factor somewhere pointing to this. Again, like while everybody's pointing to 100K for Bitcoin, I still just get not blindsided. I get stuck on that. My eyes are constantly stuck on that of like, well, how are we going to do it if we can't get out of here? It's my biggest challenge that I'm facing. And it's no surprise, of course, we just haven't gotten Bitcoin out of here yet while that thing can't get out at the exact same time. There are interesting price structures that have happened in here for Bitcoin. And I think I talked about this either in yesterday's video or on Monday's video. I can't really recall, just because this week has been a blur for me. But everything in here, we're talking about it like in the retrace structure of what happened in here for Bitcoin, just like it was back in 2019, right? You had all the same elements happening in here. We talked about it even on the ride up, that once we would get through here, this would be like the weight of the world being lifted off your shoulders during all this time. I really had to go through like my emotional log of 2019 and 2018 to kind of replay what it was like. And that once we got through there, that's where the weight of the world didn't feel like it was on the shoulders anymore. And we watched that same phenomenon happen here in the market. And then in here, in my emotional log, you see me going euphoric, right? Like we've talked all about that. And so when we went into here, what did we have? Market euphoria happening in here. And then everything's kind of teetered off afterwards, after that has happened, now going on for 5 months. But things that are kind of interesting in here is just the structure of how it's even really just kind of played out here on a compressed time frame for Bitcoin compared to after that had occurred. It's going to go like that. Yeah, kind of like that. That you have all the real same phases that happened in here that inevitably led to a massive liquidation that happens at the very end of the thing, right? So we can just kind of go through just the brush, right? All of this would be in here. It's just more slanted rather than horizontal. Notice the new dips, right? The rise up, then one more attempt, and then the massive flush, more attempt, the massive flush. And what do we get in here? We get global markets selling off aggressively in here. That is the C19 sell-off. And then what do we get? We got massive stuff happening over here in global markets at the exact same time. So very interesting to see that. But of course, we are only 2 days removed from that whole event occurring. Still need a little bit more price action in here. And like I mentioned in yesterday's video, really the thing, if we're going to hang our hat on cycle theory, we're going to hang our hat on that this market is going to expand. The first signs that come out of this market likely will not be coming from Bitcoin. The evidence would be coming from other variables in the altcoin market, things like Ethereum, Solana, right? Tron. We've seen all these things go back to their retracement levels, nobody being able to expand. So really the first things to be looking for signs of life and excitement and kind of putting down that wall of worry of, is there a second leg to come after this thing, is if we actually do end up seeing some altcoins give some type of big fat move come out of there. Now, if you caught yesterday's video, where are you? There you are. We were kind of going through things like with Solana that had happened prior to the market expanding, and how we see those similar structures in other assets in here. Of course, we look at things like XRP. We say, where are we time-wise in regards to where we should be? But just structurally, even on a lot of these different assets before the market expanded, this was very similar to what Solana had done back in its correction, which was about 79%. We see these same exact structures showing up in here on what would have been the actual capitulation happening in there for these types of structures. So those are optimistic things to look for. Still, we're waiting for more just like signs and evidences to show up and say, boom, things are actually ending up moving. But, potential that this could be okay for the, I can never remember how to pronounce it. Nikkei, I think that's it. 225 over here in Japan. The big thing, of course, still is just, it's like there's going to have to be something in this market that this market doesn't have priced in. Some surprise, some positive surprise that we just can't see right now. It is a very complicated read right now on this being able to end up happening. Otherwise, though, it's not like this thing still has not deviated itself just yet. It actually went to literally the place that it could. Somehow, some way, that's where it could. Again, adding to it that August is the month to be paying attention to. If you are a cycle theorist, we have entered into the window. This is it. Hopefully that was a giant flush to kind of conclude things before we can start doing something in here. So obviously we've seen green each day ever since we've had the big flush over there, not just over there in the cryptocurrency market, but we're seeing it over there in the United States stock market. You got the NASDAQ up 332. You got the Dow Jones up 291. The Russell's up 36 and the S&P is up 75. But Bitcoin's big thing. There we go. Right. We've been talking all about this stuff. This was the fastest I've seen one of these things get out of here. Holy cow, that was quick for that to end up happening. But we're kind of at that level where we would like to see this thing just kind of break through. And I'm not so really paying attention to an actual price level of Bitcoin hitting and me being like, oh yeah, everything is fine now because that price level in particular has gotten hit. That's really not what we're looking for. What we're truly looking for is something to show up evidenced in the market that things actually are moving. It will not just be Bitcoin. If Bitcoin is going to get to this, to go into a moment like this of expansion, it will not be Bitcoin alone. It will be all over the place. At this point, it will be everything that ends up going. And so just seeing Bitcoin cross some particular dollar number is not the thing that I'm really looking for. I don't care which asset it is that does it. I don't have to own any of them. Just show me something that is starting to really get moving, and really not just one. Let's see 5 different assets do something kind of silly where a big kind of pump just kind of shows up into them. And that would be the optimistic thing that we're looking for some type of expansion. So we're still just kind of in the dust is settled after that. Market's kind of ricocheting after that big move that ended up happening. Now we're trying to kind of eyeball some signs to show up in the market to say, hey, this thing can now actually go for an expansion. If it is, we should see signs start to show up throughout the market. Now, if you caught this, this is one of those things we've talked about a lot, has been over here on the safety trade dominance. We saw massive amounts of volume show up in there on the exact day of August 5th. Now this thing's just continuing to start to drift down slowly. You can see over here on the 4-hour time frame, there was definitely a trend change that happened here in the strength indicators. So really just kind of waiting for a bigger breakdown to start to emerge, but we're going the right direction off of large volume happening in here. This is the dynamic shift I'd be looking for in this market. Again, this picture only paints till mid to late September. If things get heated, if things get going, we'll of course remind of that as time goes, but hopefully August can be an exciting month. It's just once we get to September, that's where, you think for 1 minute, like the moment you're living in right now, any type of fear that you're having, uncertainty that you are having, we go through this nonstop, and people who have watched the channel for the last 5 years, you've been through it nonstop, whether it was C19, whether it was post Elon Saturday Night Live, Luna, Celsius, Three Arrows Capital, then FTX, the euphoria comes back. You just saw it back 5 months ago. People emotionally completely flip and don't realize that they emotionally flip in a very short amount of time. You can go from extreme fear to extreme euphoria in 40 days, no problem. The human brain has zero problem being able to do that, becoming irrationally exuberant and saying, this time is different. The brain has no problem doing that. And you've witnessed it many times, and you witnessed it really just 5 months ago where everybody was irrationally exuberant. So hopefully this continues. This is the thing we'll be kind of watching for this week. All past cycles have indicated we are in the golden week. Like, no joke. This week we're in right now, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We are in the week where things have all done stuff. It is interesting to see this type of reversal volume happening in here over there on the safety trade dominance. So we'll see how that gets going. But as for Bitcoin, there's still a lot of work ahead of this guy. But still, it has not broken. So we'll keep monitoring that as it gets going. The big thing is, where's the surprise for that thing? That's the big head scratcher. That's the big conflict I have with all of this. And it's been just the conflict the whole time, right? It's just been constantly, we're going to 100K, we're going to 100K, going to 100, going to 100. But the problem is, this guy won't escape. So we still got to somehow see something come to life over here. So there you go. VIX, again, we've touched on VIX. VIX obviously has pulled back very aggressively. That's exactly what you do want to see. We wouldn't want to have this thing just continuously marching up. That was a massive turn down. So that gives a little bit of hope there on that. That was a bottom that was formed there on that massive move that happened on Monday. The thing that will happen probably in the coming weeks will be the bodies will come to float. There's no question. People, corporations, hedge funds got decimated in that move. There was margin calls, liquidations, everything. And we know that not just because cryptos, not just because stocks, but when you see things like precious metals getting slaughtered in moments like that, silver was down $2 that day. You're seeing margin calls happening. That's where everything gets impacted during those events. We saw that during C19. We saw that during the great financial crisis. It didn't matter what, everything got called all at the same time. And that's what we were seeing happening on Monday. We were seeing margin call liquidations happening. And we don't have any idea of what bodies will come to float after something like that yet. As for XRP, moves right back on down in here. There you go. There's your volatility. That should be your floor. That should be your done point right there for XRP. Dominances, we've already gone into that. We've already talked about these structures happening over here throughout the rest of the market. That, of course, would be a quick reversal happening in here for these things, which would be something going along with that as well. As for the US dollar currency index, this has also been fascinating. Of course, this is really where people kind of look towards Japanese yen. During all of this, as even during that crash that was taking place there on Monday throughout all markets, we actually saw the dollar falling during that time too. So everybody, the yen carry trade. I'm a yen carry trade professional now. Let me write a thread on Twitter about it. Okay. But yeah, so we saw the dollar falling during all of that at the same time. So it's been fascinating. And of course, we saw movement happening over here in precious metals. Gold actually held up quite well. Silver, though, took a pretty decent sized fall during that moment when it did end up happening. But gold still holding up. Again, gold, the things that gold has not backtested that breakout that it's had occur. And as I look at it, I'm just like, do you have to go slam that thing? Kind of been my thoughts in here, but it still just continues to hold itself up just fine. As for the Fed, though, as all that occurred, we moved from being hey, we're going to get one rate cut over there on September 18th, and now being like, hey, we're going to get two rate cuts. So right now the market prices in a 63% probability that we will get 50 basis points of rate cuts happening over there on September 18th, with a 100% probability that we will at least see one cut, but a 63% probability that we'll actually see two and see 50 basis points cut off the table there. As you can see here, it really just has its cut. It thinks by November 7th, we will have cut 75 basis points, puts a 96% probability on it that will be there by that time. Otherwise, get my stuff going here. Hold on. There we go. Stocks rally for a second day with the Dow up 200 points. Markets are counting on the Fed to head off a recession with sizable interest rate cuts. Top investors are dealing with market volatility, Piper sees eventual new S&P high later this year. Disney beats estimates as combined streaming services turn a profit. Google's antitrust ruling has experts looking to 25-year-old Microsoft case for answers. Very, very nice. All right. All right, moving over to CoinDesk. What you got? Bitcoin's impending death cross may trap bears as Bank of Japan eases rate concerns. Right. So last night, Bank of Japan came out and gave a little bit of market massaging, saying, "Hey, look, if it's really volatile, we're not going to do a whole lot." What you saw was a triggering event. It doesn't matter what the catalyst is, right? And that's going to be the thing that you're going to have to realize at some point. Catalyst, no matter what, okay? And just know this. Whenever the end of the world comes for the stock market, whenever the thing does eventually completely blow up on itself, which it absolutely will one day, absolutely no question about it, it will blow up on itself one day. There will be something that pricks it. But what happens is you have so much leverage, you have so many stop losses, and you have cascading liquidations that it's not the catalyst that is truly causing all the absolute insane price action to end up occurring. This is all margin calls. This is what we saw happen during C19 when you get 2 days of insane price action. It is not the catalyst that people are panic selling. It just happens to be the one thing that got it to cross that stop, right? Maybe price was dancing around on here, and then event happens here, and that crosses it. And so stop gets hit, and then stop, and everybody says that's what the cause was. That's how news works. And so just know it's all BS. Margin, leverage. That's why we always say never use margin, never use leverage. You will inevitably get wrecked. Okay. Cointelegraph. DeFi protocol Nexera hacked for $1.5 million. Smart contract exploit. Bitcoin needs $59,100 weekly close amid doubt over Bitcoin price all-time high. Clicker Games is to fade post airdrop. Blah, blah, blah. How did Bank of Japan wreck the yen carry trade? Okay, yeah. Okay, what? Sol over ETH ratio hits new all-time high amid market turmoil. Bitcoin decline is similar to the start of the 2016 bull run, says Peter Brandt. Swan Bitcoin cancels conference amid staff reduction and mining shutdown. Crypto critics file updated campaign finance complaint against Coinbase. The Bitcoin bottom is not in. Bitcoin traders set price targets in the low $40,000 range. Bitcoin bulls were obliterated, but is this time to be catch the falling knife, right? So this is probably the first time that confidence has probably been this shaken. Emotionally, people have probably reached their breaking point. You can just see that in simple things like right there. Extreme fear. So that if you are in extreme fear right now, welcome. You are right on par. We were right on par. All right. Let's go ahead and hop on in. Let's give the frog one more time, guys, and then we'll hop into the chat.
It is Wednesday, my dude. It is Wednesday.
All right, welcome to Wednesday. JJ Jacobs says, in markets in the morning in the fall of 2023, you mentioned a scenario where the altcoin market rejects at the 702 and backtest accumulation zone. Why didn't you consider it when it actually hit the 702? Sir, were you here during any of that time? Do you realize how much clowning was happening on me by other content creators in here when we got to the 702? Every piece of content I made was about it and that I was selling at the 702. This thing? That thing right there? Yeah, we talked about it a lot. Go sign. How's your favorite paid Discord groups treating you that clowned me at that time? I'm sure they've been doing great. All right, Gator, my dude, gifted 10 BCB memberships, brother. Thank you very much. A highest little place in the galaxy member for 10 months. I'm here for the beginning of Wednesdays only due to this being my wildly busy day every week. We'll see more of you when we return to daily lives. Thank you very much. Happiest little place. M. Potsy. Thoughts on KSM. It's 11 on dev activity, yet near all-time low. 25x to 702, and same chart structure as SUI from yesterday's video. Yeah, I don't follow because I believe, so I'm not like super, it's Kusama, right? I'm not like super into what Kusama is, but I believe it's like the canary network of Polkadot, right? So you'll see that it's going to have the same thing with Polkadot. Like the number is going to be same because I believe they share the same repository. But I'm not fully rehearsed on Kusama. Jaxer, thank you very much. Jaxer, member for 14 months. Morning Bros, hit the like. Yesterday I got so tired of waiting for the moon, I ate my wristwatch. It was very time consuming. Oh, boy. Oh man, all right. So yesterday, son was eating a popsicle. And on the popsicles, it's got like a dad joke on there. It's brutal. It's horrible. And the question was, what is the perfect job for a cow? So what do you think is the perfect job for a cow? I said a lawn mower, right? Like, because they like eat grass, right? A lawn mower. But the stick said a furniture mover. It's like, no, my corny, pukey, terrible lawn mower was better. Okay. Thank you, Jaxer. Marcus, gold, 2012 to present, fractal aligns pretty well to Bitcoin since 2021 drop in terms of timing and chart behavior. Yeah, no, I think we've even covered this before. We actually talked about this back in here for Bitcoin. If I can find gold, do I still have it open? Here it is. Right in here, right? So like what you would have just experienced right now with Bitcoin, gold didn't do that, right? Gold held here. Bitcoin kind of went like that just now. That's what you just saw. And that's Bitcoin right now. Corey, does the H-bar chart still look good to you? H-bar's been weak. There's been nothing special about H-bar at all. Cuisine Trending says, could you take a look at the Bitcoin wallet address? Funny enough, I was looking at it this morning because this was interesting. This is wallets greater than 10 for Bitcoin. We've talked a lot about this leading up to this, that wallets were not participating in the bullish sentiment that retail has had. But that wallets greater than 10 had been selling into the entire rise. What we notice now about this sell-off that just happened is we actually did see a rise in those wallet addresses. So that's pretty interesting, right? I think that it's a legitimate trend change, it appears to be, right? So we'll see if there's follow through on that. But that's like that's one of the things you would want to see for sure, right? And we just haven't had that at all throughout here, right? They are just selling off into that thing, doing nothing. Then the big sell-off happens, and boom, they come in, and those larger wallets start to accumulate. So that's the first good sign. Now, you could see it over there on things like wallets with greater than 100 as well. The thing I don't really like about these wallets is it's so few wallets. I'll show you that. Wait, hold on. I'm missing data here. There we go. So wallets greater than 100. Oh, I got this thing in the middle of it. Hold on. As you can see in this movement right here, wallets greater than 100 took a nice little pop happening in there. But you look over here on the left and you say, well, what is that total number of wallets that did rise in there? That's what? Maybe 100 wallets. So 100 wallets out of 16,000. It does only represent 1%. So, not sure if there's really a lot to extrapolate from there. We don't really use that one as much as we do the wallets with greater than 10. Let's see if I can just do this and if it'll bring it back. That one. This is the one that's really been more of the signal happening in there, that they were selling into that and then not willing to touch the prices. They have decided to start touching prices here. I do find that a little bit more interesting. Mo419 says, once school starts, are we back to daily markets in the morning? I'm not sure. I haven't decided yet. Because there's a trade-off that happens if you realize it. Maybe I need to just do like a community poll on it. Because you kind of know what happens. If we do markets in the morning every day, we essentially get a repeat of everything. Here's Bitcoin. Here's the opening of the stock market. Here's this. Here's that. My channel gets about half the amount of views as it normally does. And you get about 3 to 4 videos per month. Whereas the other side of the coin, you get like 10 to 15 videos per month, maybe more. I don't know. We do about 3 to 4 videos per week now. So yeah, like 10 to 15 videos per month. And then, I don't know. It's a hard one to do because I thoroughly enjoy making videos. When we do markets in the morning every day, that eats up the first 5 hours of my day. And it's difficult to make a video after that. So I'll probably just put it to a poll. JJ Jacob says, you didn't expect a 60% fall. 2020 is 30%. 2020 wasn't 30%. I don't know. That one's been deleted. Right. Everybody wants hindsight, right? Here's the reality. We got to the 702. We haven't been able to get through it. We haven't been able to get the Russell through here either. You've got the whole world screaming to you, we're in a bull market. The problem is we can't get that Russell through. You get the Russell through, this thing will get through too. But you keep seeing these failures, right? You go send this market through, we got something good to yell about. But you don't see me over there on Twitter constantly posting moon boy, moon boy, moon boy. 100K is inevitable. 200K is inevitable, right? Like, I keep pointing to these things and these challenges that we're facing in the market. Are there things that can be optimistic? Well, yeah. You're at the time where things can all happen at. We kind of need a miracle to show up in here. This is navigating uncharted waters. You're at the highest Fed funds rate in any of this stuff. You are all navigating a different market. I've been in March streaming. I got all your favorite nice words. Influencers who watch my YouTube channels and then make their own videos to make it seem like their content. Who decided to posture, like, hey, I'm going to posture against this guy now and do it all over Twitter. And they do it right there. Of course, they have paid Discord groups. Good for them. Good for those paid Discorders. But yeah, getting through here has been the big challenge now, right? And this is where we're at. If we can't get through here, this is the big problem. That message is consistent. If we can't get through here, show me a time where we're going to go to the moon. Because everybody has said we can go to the moon without it. This is what we need to see. We need to see this thing get through. There needs to be some type of miracle show up. But there you go. Hopefully that was it. Hopefully that was our miracle. Hopefully that was the full-blown liquidation of the market and a reset of it. Because this has only happened that's the third time in almost 40 years. In a 40-year period, it has only been higher than that 2 other times. And that was the Great Financial Crisis and C19. So hopefully that was it. Not Oscar Hernandez, my man. My oldest starts school soon, which means summer is almost over. And I've never been so excited. I can't wait to get back to daily BCB streams. I love you, brother. Not Oscar. Thank you, my dude. Just so you all are aware, I have met not Oscar Hernandez. I have eaten lunch. I can't remember if it was lunch or dinner. Maybe it was dinner. I think it was dinner with not Oscar Hernandez. He is a real person. And I can confirm he is not Oscar Hernandez, but he's a great guy. Amberlyn Reed says, do you think crypto Twitter is still optimistic on Bitcoin cycle theory? I don't think Twitter knows what to think. I think Twitter attaches itself to whatever narratives it can attach itself to at any time. I 100% try to stay true to the data as much as I possibly can, right? And if there's an argument for cycle theory, if there is an argument for it, it is August. That is what all the data says. Now, they don't know what to think. They really are focused on the block reward halving as being their catalyst. I have beaten that into the ground. I have dominated that, destroyed it, put it in its grave. It's stupid. It's not real. Wake up. It is total BS. But it's very easy for content creation to promise exceptional gains, unbelievable cycle rewards that'll happen to you because it's baked into the protocol and it's due to the block reward halving. It's a very easy thing to lean on and then spit irresponsible nonsense constantly out of your mouth and just vomit it all over the YouTube channel for clicks. But it's fake. It's not real. It's total BS. But if there is things that are consistent when it comes to cycles and when it comes to timing, we're in it. This is it. The expansions, all the things, the alt seasons, the Bitcoin breaking out, all that stuff happens in this window that we're in right now in August. That is the thing for timing consistency, not block reward halvings. Oh, Amberlyn says, optimistic because of cycle theory. Well, people are concerned now, right? But what happens when you get a sell-off? What happens when you get a liquidation? Now people are going through lots of different narratives to decide what do they think is going to end up being the case. And it's, the tough one. We're in the thick of a weird moment, right? And that's just the reality of it. Except, acknowledging and appreciating that was a big moment that happened in there. And the coming days, right? Looking for some more direction to make itself present. Fortunately, today you've got the Dow up 400, you got the Russell up 32, the S&P up 82, and you got the Nasdaq up 325. But we're coming off of some crazy, crazy stuff. And the market just takes a minute to digest it. Nobody's going to feel optimistic right now. People are going to be in the gutter today, in the gutter this week, until price action turns around. I think it's Helene Meister says nothing. What is it? It's her pinned tweet. We're going to show her. There is nothing like price to change sentiment. People will become irrationally exuberant due to price and believing the narratives are super great. Nothing's ever going to happen because it's super great. And then if price falls, sentiment changes. People are very pessimistic. And it's always a lagging thing. Price goes up, then people become euphoric. Price goes down, then they become pessimistic. That's why it's always this cat and mouse game of selling lows and buying highs, because price goes up, then you become euphoric. Price goes down, then you become pessimistic. It's very difficult to become pessimistic when everyone else is euphoric. It's very difficult to become pessimistic and concerned at these times, and it's very difficult to try to become optimistic when everybody becomes pessimistic. And it's just kind of playing the game the other way. Corey says, what were your emotions on Monday? I'm going through some stuff outside of crypto right now. I'm dealing with a family injury right now. And so it's hard, and it was really contemplating that too, and thinking about that too. Like when we talk about emotions a lot, we were usually just talking about, what's happening with price action, what's happening in that stuff. But a lot of times what happens to us too is we have things that happen in our own personal lives outside of charts. And sometimes that can compound on top of it all. And that's kind of the thing I'm going through right now. Somebody's been injured, and we're just trying to get things back on track with that. And I'll fill you guys in on that later this week. But we're still just trying to get them better. And I've been going through that since last Thursday. So last Thursday is when it happened. Emergency room and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I actually just didn't care, right? It was one of those things where it just didn't matter to me at the time what was going on in crypto. So unfortunately, I don't have a good answer for you on that. So, yeah. But I'll fill you guys in on all that once things kind of turn around a little bit. And that hopefully will be by later this week. So, yeah. So on that, I think we've kind of covered everything, guys. Thank you for the kind words, guys. I see in the chat. Thank you. Big moves in crypto, things still okay. We saw the VIX hit extreme levels. These were great financial crisis and C19 style VIX levels of volatility that happened in the market and liquidations that happened in the market. Hopefully things can kind of settle down here a little bit. The big story, of course, has been over there with Japan. We'll see if that was a double tap bull flag breakout, short squeeze, violent backtest V bottom to happen out of there. A nice bounce wicking its way out of there. Again, even when these things wick out of here like this, a V bottom, while we would love for them all to just look like that and take us out of our misery, they typically are not. They typically are not quite like that, but we'll end up seeing how it goes. Otherwise, things are holding up okay. I think the intriguing thing for me was the date at which it showed up, because we kind of talked about that for a week or two leading up for it. And we actually had just put out a newsletter talking all about that as well. And it just so happened to be August 5th. That's where the big signal shows up in there. We've seen this thing start to drift down in there. And even on just indicator stuff, we've really seen it just kind of grind its way up, and then boom, it just kind of lost all of its steam and its momentum happening in there. For the safety trade dominance happening in there. So in the coming week, what we're hoping to really see for the next week is just actually some real drift start to emerge in that thing by the time we get back together next Wednesday. That's really what I would like to see, because then I'll be pretty convinced we're in it. And I don't remember what the term is, right? Slowly, then all at once, right? And sometimes it's just kind of a slow start until things really kind of get themselves going. So we'll check in on that again next week and see how that's all doing. Otherwise, things have been pretty stable ever since the chaos took place there. After the Fed meeting, really, is where this all kicked off, and then the liquidations all happened, with everybody pointing to everybody pointing to Japan, right? But we know this all started, right? We started really Thursday, right? And this was just kind of part of everything. So let's see what that looks like. Yeah, that thing's probably bottomed. So okay, all right. Russell Rod says, if the Russell were never to break out, what would be your final line in the sand to say, that's it, I'm out, we're going into a secular year bear market? That's a hard one, man. I don't know. I'll have to think about it. Sometimes in markets, and I think anybody who's like really done this for a long time, there's like, you can probably look back on it of like 1 or 2 or 3 days where everything clicked all at once. And you didn't see that moment clicking all at once until it did happen all at once. You were looking for it, and then it all just kind of happened. One of those moments in time was that I was actively looking for the end of times to be happening in crypto and to be happening in Bitcoin and stuff back over here. This was what I was really looking for. And I really just needed one thing to just kind of push me over the edge. And I remember the moment when it happened that I was in the kitchen every morning. I make a shake. It's got oatmeal. It's got blueberries. It's got Greek yogurt. It's got a banana. It's got protein powder, bunch of water. Boom. That's my breakfast every day. NutriBullet. Chug the whole thing. I was scrolling through Twitter, and there was a CNBC post, and it was Tim Cook, CEO of Apple, saying everybody should have Ethereum and Bitcoin as part of their portfolio. And the date that happened was right there. And I knew it. I knew it because everything had clicked, everything had done, and I knew my massive distrust of financial media and how CNBC has worked and operated throughout the past. How we just watched Elon Musk get everybody to buy the top over here. Then we were going to get the second favorite, because while now like things change, right? Nvidia has been the retail investor YOLO play. Back then, Apple was that. Apple is kind of like, okay, yeah, Apple's a good company now, but it's not like it was back then. It was Elon Musk and Apple, right? Those were like the big things of 2021. You'd be dumb not to own Apple for a retail investor. And then when the CEO of Apple came out and did it, it just clicked, and that was it. I ran and rushed and made like the last Ethereum video that finished selling all my Ethereum on that day and stuff like that. And I'm not sure if there's going to be a line in the sand that happens, or if there's going to be an event or a couple of events that line up and give a confirmation of saying, you know what, that's it. But I'll think more about it. I think things that would start like falling apart, or if we did start to see Bitcoin really kind of start to fall apart from here, and start drifting down into these. I see a lot of people with these targets down here of saying Bitcoin down here to 40K. While I can see that, in the event of seeing that 40K, that's just a one pit stop. That, you know, you've lost, and I don't know how you're going to make any remote bullish structure out of Bitcoin at that. And it may just have to become, all right, sell the next retrace. The next retrace is it. This thing's in a macro multi-year trend down, right? 40K is not your friend. 43K is not your friend if you are a Bitcoin bull, or if you think this thing is going into a bull market. You already have, just technically speaking, okay? One, your 200-day moving average is gone on Bitcoin, okay? Right? Euphoria, mass euphoria, Bitcoin's to the moon, blockchain backer, he's a dingus, ETFs or the bomb.com doesn't he know. You're now below the 200-day moving average 5 months later. Now, in a bull run, when does that happen? It doesn't, right? It doesn't. Okay. So you want 40K? Anybody saying I'm holding out lower because I'm going to buy lower. I'm going to buy in here. Okay, so we're just going to decimate the 200-day moving average, and then you're going to be a buyer. That event right there would make me start thinking there's big problems. Maybe there's a bounce. X that bounce. Watch out what happens below, because I don't think it's coming back at that point anytime soon. That would be something. Another thing is, now, okay, you got that, but what about weekly? Hey, you got a little bit of love there. You got your 50-week moving average, right? Now, when we've hit 50-week, now, when do we cross below a 50-week moving average in a bull market? We don't, right? We don't, right? 50-week moving average totally is good gravy in a bull market, right? Right? Bouncing off them can start being those early signs of concern, but certainly not breaking through them. Certainly not breaking through them. That is not okay, right? You want 45K? You want 40K? I don't think so, dude. And I'm not talking to you, but I don't think so, right? Can you hold here and be okay? Seems like it. But the past is not favorable to those looking for anything lower than what we've already seen, right? So anything lower than what we've seen, you start to kind of tick up the check marks of things of like, these aren't good. These aren't good, right? But as of right now, are you kind of okay? Seems like you can kind of be okay right here. Nobody, just a witness, says, all I know is that XRP has been consolidating ever since I first got back in August of 2018. We've done more than consolidate, but yeah, we've had absolute insanity. Family first, dude. Take care. Yeah, thank you. You know, and here's the really crappy thing. I want to take a week off. If you guys don't know this, this was my vacation. This was my summer vacation. This was day one of my summer vacation. This was the third hour of my summer vacation. I find myself in the emergency room, and we cut our vacation short and come back home. And of course, with all this crazy price action, I pride myself on that. No matter what happens in the markets, I show up. I've had C19 3 times. I've gotten on the stream 3 times. I've gotten on the YouTube channel 3 times with C19. If I have the flu, I show up. There's no calling in sick. And if there's ever been a time where I've wanted to call in sick for a week with what's going on in my life, it's been this. And it couldn't have shown up at a time where just calling in sick isn't acceptable with what's going on in the price in the action. So I'm waiting for us to kind of get through this. And if we're able to get through this price action and things can kind of turn their way around and a little bit of confidence gets restored in the market, your boy needs a week off. So I'm going to take it when I get the chance. But all right, guys, let's go ahead and wrap the dang thing up. Thank you all for tuning in. Of course, hit the like button if you could. It's the #1 way to support the channel. I appreciate you so much for tuning in, and I thank you so much for watching. It's Wednesday, so we'll go ahead and hit the frogs one more time halfway through.
It is Wednesday, my It is Wednesday,
All right, that is it. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you for watching. I hope you're surviving out there. We'll see how things go. Check in with you tomorrow. But that's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you could, please like the live stream and give it a thumbs up. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.